Today, I'm talking to Pauline Paterson. Pauline is an amazing woman. She is a co-founder of Dr PAWPAW with her husband. And I'm so thrilled. Dr PAWPAW Overnight Lip Mask, I think it's a brand new product. Pauline, is it a brand new product?
It is. It's our latest release.
Fantastic. And that is in the the August box. So I'm really thrilled that we've got Pauline on today. She's going to talk us through the brand. It's a brand that I've seen for quite a few years. And amazingly, it's not that old, but it seems to be everywhere. So they've done an incredible job. I think it's in 30 countries now. I'm going to say that. Is that right, Pauline?
Yes, absolutely. The States, the Far East, as well as right across Europe. So we're doing well.
Thank you so much. Well, Pauline, welcome. I'm so thrilled to have you. Right, tell me, how did you get into creating Dr PAWPAW?
So me and my husband are sort of from a beauty background. I was actually a hairdresser. He was doing PR and marketing for hair and beauty products. So we were kind of in the industry anyway. But then it was when we had our first daughter, and when she was about 9 months old, she developed a really bad eczema, particularly on her arms, on the inside of both her arms. And so, we tried everything off shelf. We ended up at the GP, and the only thing he said that he could recommend was steroid creams, which, you just don't want to put steroid creams on a baby. Their skin is so sensitive, and, that is so strong. So me being from Australia, I did have an Australian pawpaw balm with me as well, because again, pawpaw as an ingredient is as famous in Australia as what aloe vera is here. So imagine just picking up any one of your aloe vera creams. I picked up one of the pawpaw balms and I put it on her, and literally straight away she stopped like itching at it or trying to scratch it. You could almost see the redness go down. And it just started working. And, there really is something, that is really special about natural ingredients, versus sort of strong man-made chemicals. So we noticed an instant difference. And we were like, my husband was like, what is this stuff? Where do we get it from? And I'm like, well, at the moment, I can only get it when we go to Australia. And so we did try and bring over some of the Australian brands. But at that point, they didn't want to export. And luckily enough, we had a friend who was just launching a shampoo line, like a hairline. So he knew a contract manufacturer here in the UK. And so we just took it to them. We want to improve it. We want to put aloe vera in it. We want to put olive oil in it. We want to put more goodness in it. And so then we created it like that.
Do you know what? My friend had, her son had terrible eczema. I mean, literally, he was almost like pizza face with it. It was just awful. And it's so upsetting when you see babies, that young, and that you just can't relieve anything. You feel utterly helpless. So that must have been an amazing experience when suddenly, you tried something and that worked for your daughter. The relief must have been immense.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because again, with your first child, with any child, especially when they can't talk and they can't tell you and you can't explain it to you, you just feel as a parent so helpless when you can see that they keep scratching it, and every time we take a hand away she cries, because obviously it's irritating. You do feel utterly helpless.
So you made this balm. I assume, did you tell me you made it in the kitchen sink?
Oh well, no. So we took the ingredients and what we wanted to a contract manufacturer.
And so they made it. So what did you decide? Did you originally think you were going to market it just to mothers and babies, or did you always think it was going to be a multi-purpose balm?
Well, no. Well, I always knew it was going to be a multi-purpose balm because, again, like I said, I'd grown up with pawpaw balms, in Australia. Yes, my mum and my sister used it on their children, like for nappy rash. But I used to use it as a lip balm, ultimately. But you can put it in your hair, whenever I would fall over as a kid or graze myself as a kid, my mum would always put that on, like you'd put on Sudocreme or like you'd put on, Vaseline, like any of those iconic kind of first aid products you would have. My mum and every mum, and even when I'd go and stay at a friend's place, if anything happened, they'd reach for the pawpaw balm and put it on you. It was just a real household name. So when we did go to the contract manufacturers, though, I worked quite closely with them because again, I knew what I wanted in it. I knew what I wanted to improve on the ones that I've tried before. And obviously we knew that, you know, we had to be cruelty free. We wanted to be vegan. You know, we wanted to tick all those boxes. So whilst we didn't physically make it ourselves, because I didn't feel like I had the expertise to do that, I had a long list of what I wanted and what we didn't want in it.
So, I mean, that's amazing. So you wanted it to be vegan and cruelty free when you started. And am I right in thinking you've been going 6 years, 7 years?
Yes, yes. Because
so that's before it became really trendy.
Yes, because I mean, again, obviously, one of the famous things when we took the balm to the contract manufacturer, they're like, "Oh, you use beeswax. You know, every lip balm has beeswax in it," and we're like, "Well, we don't want to be like every lip balm." Also, it was sort of like when the argan oil sort of, you know, boom had hit as well. So everybody was talking about nut oils like almond oils and argan oils. But then again, being in the hair industry, we were getting a lot of questions about, well, if you've got a nut allergy, is it safe? Yeah. And obviously the testing hadn't been done. So we're like, well, we don't know. Yeah. Test it and see. But, you know, somebody's got a nut allergy. Is it going to test something because it's got almond oil in it to find out if they're allergic to it? So we're just like, we don't want any nut oils. You know, we want to be different. We don't want any beeswax in it. You know, we just really wanted just to do things differently. If it was going to be our one little product, we did just think we're just going to do the one product as well at that time, because I was still keeping my full-time job. Johnny was still keeping his full-time job. So we're like, oh yeah, we'll just do this little product sort of on the side as a hobby, but it soon grew.
Yeah, hasn't quite worked out like that, has it?
No.
So
no.
When did you get your first kind of, what was the first trigger moment when you realized, actually, yeah, this is going to fly?
It was when Harvey Nichols wanted to launch us exclusively for the first 6 months. So we were like, oh, wow. So we kind of had the prototype. We'd only made about 5,000 as well, like to begin with, because, you know, that's all we could afford. 2, we thought, oh, that'll probably take us at least a year or so to sell. And, you know, we did think we wanted to get down to the retail route, because we really had to share the story as well. So Johnny had lots of meetings with lots of buyers and sent out samples to all the major UK retailers and everyone that we wanted to get into. I was pregnant at the time with our second child, Jackson, so I wasn't quite out and about as much as Johnny was. And then, yeah, one of the first people to call us back was the lovely beauty buyer at Harvey Nichols, and she's like, I've been waiting for somebody to bring over one of these Australian pawpaw balms. She goes, and the fact that you're making it here in the UK and you've made it yourselves, she goes, I want it. She goes, I just want it. She goes, give it to me for 6 months. It was over winter. We literally launched in the October. So it was like, you know, right through the winter. And they just launched us. And she goes, and then after that, she goes, you know, you can open it up. And so, yeah, that was the most incredible start we could have ever imagined.
I think your husband did an amazing job, because I've sold into retailers and I know how hard it is, not only to get the product in, but once it's in, you've got to move the product from the shelf, where often they don't know about the product, you know, consumers haven't seen it before because it's new, and get it into the basket. And that's why I'm so thrilled you've let us have this in the August box, because I think toilers are going to love it. There's so many things to love about this product. It's incredible ingredients. It does amazing things, and the price point is just outstanding. Manage our expectations, Pauline. Tell us what this is going to do, what's in it, and how it's going to work best.
Yeah, so this is the overnight lip mask. And really, we did want this to feel different from our other clear balms, because all our other balms have got the pawpaw fruit in it, aloe vera, olive oil, you know, all of those ingredients that are really going to hydrate, nourish the lips, particularly soothe them as well if you've got any redness or sensitivity. They're all fragrance free as well. And what we wanted to do, you know, with the overnight lip mask is, again, just amplify that, just put more ingredients in there, more natural ingredients that are really going to amplify the benefits of it. And again, you know, making it that little bit sort of thicker as well. You know, you can feel that when you put it on your lips, you really do need to allow time for it to absorb in, to really get the most out of the product. And again, it just feels, you know, more luxurious, you know, than our other everyday clear balms.
I just think it's an incredible product. And not only does it do lips, I mean, I get very dry lips in winter, and I've got a specific bit on my lip that seems to just kind of go flat. Boring you all with my personal problems. But also it does the outline of the lips. It does those lip lines as well, doesn't it? How does it manage to do those? And how long should we wait for results?
Yes, so the key ingredient that has really sort of changed from the overnight lip mask is we've actually put peptides in there. And again, for those of you that don't know, peptides is amino acids which are naturally found in your skin already. And they're kind of like the building blocks of keratin, and you know, the skin and hair sort of natural protein as well. So things like collagen and keratin that are really going to strengthen your skin. And unfortunately, over time, as we get older, gracefully, of course, our body loses collagen. Yeah, and it loses elastin as well, you know, which you can sort of feel, you know, in your skin again, if you remember what it was like in your 20s or your teens, you know, to what it is in our over 40s. So unfortunately, you lose that. So by putting these peptides and these amino acids back in, yes, you're helping to moisturize your lips and your skin. But also what you're doing is you're improving the collagen and elasticity, which is the defining of fine lines, and the plumping. But again, it's not a plumping that you can get those very strong cosmetic sort of products that, you know, it's like a bee sting. You know, they deliberately sort of sting, or you're meant to have that irritation to sort of plump your lips. This does it naturally by filling your lips, almost like flooding your lips. And you can do it, as you said, around there, because again, I'm getting the fine lines around there. And also Johnny puts it under his eyes at night as well. Yeah, which is really good. I mean, I've got a million eye creams, so I do as well. But yeah, he's definitely noticed the difference around his eyes as well. So yes, anywhere we start to have those fine lines that you feel need smoothing and plumping from within, because we're flooding it now with peptides.
Do you know what? I think you don't hear so much about peptides. You did a couple of years ago, but they are so underrated. And I hear a lot more about things like hyaluronic acid these days. But peptides are absolutely key for skin as we get older. You're so right. They're such a great ingredient. How long before we see results, do you reckon?
So definitely after the first use. So again, also the reason why we call it an overnight lip mask, and again, some people might not think, oh, I'm going to put a lip balm on before I go to bed, but it should be exactly the same as putting on a night cream or an evening eye cream or an evening facial oil. That if you put this on, like smother your lips on it at night, your body is resting, and when your body's sleeping as well, you lose a lot of moisture. So one, it's putting it back in, but because you're resting, so we're not talking, we're not drinking, you know, we're not eating, it really does allow that time for the peptides and all the other ingredients to absorb fully in. So then you wake up with perfectly smooth, plump lips. And definitely after the first night, you will notice the plumpness, but it might just last a few hours. Every time you use it and every night you use it, gradually you will flood your lips with it, and they will naturally always be like that. So, you know, I've been testing it sort of for over a year now, and we've launched it just before Christmas as well. And definitely everybody that says that have finished their tube putting on every night, I've noticed that their lips are definitely smoother and plumper. Again, not like an artificial injection, but you can notice it, and the effects last longer the longer you use it for.
Do you know what? I've had a go on this for the last couple of nights, and I definitely have noticed a difference. I think it's an incredible product. I mean, it retails at £8.95, which is incredible value.
Yes, yeah. So again, that's the thing, you know, we wanted to really price ourselves so that we're accessible to everybody. You know, there are those beautiful luxury brands, but again, because we knew like of the necessity, like with our daughter and, you know, and people with sensitive skin as well, again, because this is fragrance free. So even if you suffer from the most sensitive skins, and normally you can't put a lot of things, you know, on your lips or on your face, you know, please do try this, because we've really made sure that we've, you know, left out any ingredients that could cause any irritation like that as well. So the reason why we price it like that is because we really do want to make it accessible to everybody, and the luxury products can kind of sort of have their luxury mark. I'm not saying I don't like to use them, but not everybody can afford them, and we really want to be accessible to everybody.
Do you know what I like finding for TOYL? I like finding products at all ends of the spectrum, because if a product is great and amazing, the price point isn't really what we're looking at. What we're looking at is stuff that works, and this I just think is incredible. And the fact that it's so affordable is just, you know, the icing on the cake. I absolutely love it. I can't recommend people highly enough to try it. Pauline, I know that Dr PAWPAW is really involved in charity work. And I know that you did some stuff in COVID last year with balms and key workers, not just in the UK, but across different countries. But you're involved in a lot of projects. Can we just hear a little bit about those? Because I think it's so important that brands do some work with others.
Yes, yeah. So, you know, giving back has always been something that's been quite close to both mine and Johnny's heart. And we always wanted to make sure that whenever we were launching anything or doing anything, that, you know, we had the opportunity to support, you know, other charities and other organizations. And actually began in sort of 2019 when we first launched our shea butter balm, because the suppliers of the shea butter actually support the Ghanaians Women's Project, which is all about making sure that, you know, we're not only buying sustainable, you know, environmentally friendly shea butter, but also that the women harvesting it, that have been harvesting it for years, you know, are getting the right pay for it, are getting right working conditions, you know, and that it is a real sort of like community effort. So that was kind of like the start that, you know, we were able to do. And then definitely as we've grown as a company, you know, we've been able to afford to do a lot more. And certainly last year with the pandemic, you know, we definitely were like, right, how can we help? You know, we've got our team working from home, you know, we're a multi-purpose balm, you know, what can we do? And so Johnny came up with the idea, goes, well, let's just give, you know, 2 tubes away to all frontline workers. And that did include like NHS workers, as well as, you know, your postmen, the people working in supermarkets, the delivery people, you know, trying to really keep us sort of like, you know, eating and going as much as possible. And it really did lift the team's spirits as well, because they actually thought, you know, or felt like they were actually sort of doing good as well and giving it back, because again, all the shops were closed. So it just seemed like, you know, a natural progression to try and, you know, sort of help, you know, everybody that was out there. And also, what we did also was in 2019, we chose to have our first yearly charity partner, 2019 to 2020, so that they actually received a percentage of our whole year's sales. And we're going to do that every year now. So the first one we decided to partner up with was Crisis, because again, we're really trying to help them end homelessness in the UK. Because again, you know, people can become homeless for so many different reasons, but, you know, when you've lost everything, it must just be so devastating. So we supported them, again, giving them products to use like our shampoo and body wash and conditioner in their drop-in centres, you know, and as well as giving them then the percentage at the end of the year. And so then for this year, then for 2020 to 2021, we were really, really excited to be chosen and given the opportunity to work with the Teenage Cancer Trust. So again, at the end of the year, we'll be giving them a percentage of our overall sales. But also what we had the amazing opportunity was to actually create balm, that again, the proceeds of that, of every sale of that right across the world, goes to the Teenage Cancer Trust. And it was amazing because we actually had 4 young individuals that had benefited from that charity actually tell their stories on the back of our tubes as well. So yeah, with every tube or any product that you buy from Dr. PAWPAW, it will always be going towards, you know, a great charity, you know, that can help, you know, loads of people here and you know, across the world. Because again, we work with Save the Children in the US, and our frontline campaign went to America as well, and we're giving away free tubes to all their nurses and doctors, Belarus, and other countries as well in Europe as well took on board, and we sent them free stock, and then they distributed amongst their people that needed it.
I think that's amazing, and it must be so hard. I mean, I'm a real believer in volunteering and doing what you can for other people, because, you know, there but for the grace of God go all of us. But it must be so hard. I mean, you're a large company, you must be inundated with requests from charities. How do you choose the ones you're going to support?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely when it comes sort of, you know, to the bigger charities that we're going to team up with for a year, yeah, that does take some negotiations, sort of, you know, looking at sort of, you know, what they do want, what they do require, and really if our products kind of like fit, you know, that category again, especially because we are an all-inclusive product, that it's inclusive for all different ages, all different skin tones, or different skin types, you know, that we really do think that, you know, we do have quite a broad area, quite a broad sort of playing field, so to speak. So yeah, so we'll just, like, you know, we're here for a long time, hopefully. We've just started on this journey, like I said, with our second charity. So there's definitely room every year to do that. But I think it's also important as well to be responsive with what's happening in the world as well. So, you know, different charities we've donated to, you know, for example, when all those bushfires happened in Australia, we've donated to them. We've donated lots to the gay rights charities as well, and also Black Lives Matter as well, and Stop Asian Hate, you know, everything that's going on that requires support and help. You know, normally, even if it is a one-off donation, or if it's our continued support, you know, we are always listening, and we are always being as responsive as possible in that time, you know. And again, especially with the environment as well, you know, we've had a huge overhaul with our packaging, with what we use, with how we deliver products, you know, everything really does have to be taken into consideration now, because people are listening, and people have that choice to make.
Yeah, they do have that choice. You're absolutely right. I'm so impressed. You're one of the companies that I think really takes the whole charity side very seriously. And I'm really in awe of what you do.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. That means a lot.
Pauline, thank you so much for coming on to talk to us about this. I think it's incredible. I think we're going to absolutely love this. And I do hope you'll come back at some point in 2022 and tell us what you're up to.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much for having me, Karen.
Absolute pleasure. Have a great day.
And you take care.